Good morning, grade 7s, and welcome back to your English lesson. I do hope that you are keeping safe during this lockdown. I would love to have some emails from you at grade7@worksheetcloud.com. I know that you've been working on your email writing and the correct format, and so I'd love to hear from you. Please send me an email about things that you'd like me to teach, and I will do my best to do as many of them as I can. So let's jump into our lesson overview for today. We are looking at our daily starter as we always do. There's going to be a video recap on our figurative language, just a few of them, and how you can see them in modern day songs. And then we're going to look at understanding homonyms, homophones, and homographs. If you haven't done the prefix lesson, it is a good idea to do it because we look at what the prefix homo actually means. Right, so look at our daily starter for today. We're looking at a chain sentence. So very much like a chain with links, we want to use the last letter of each word to start the next one. So here's an example. Peter ends in an R, so your next word's got to start with an R. Raced ends in D, your next word's got to start with a D, and so on. Down ends in N, your next word's got to start with an N. Nigel ends in L, so your next word starts with an L. So Peter raced down Nigel Lane. It's linked together with the letters. So what I thought we'd do is start with the same word so we can see what similar ideas we come up with. So start with Brandon. And Brandon is a name and it ends in an N. So your next word needs to start with an N. So pause the video at this stage. I hope you've got your pen and paper ready and just write down as many different sentences as you can. Remember, a sentence has got to be a complete thought. We did that in one of our first lessons. So make sure you start with a capital letter, end with a full stop, and it must have a subject and a verb. Off you go. Obviously, try and build it. So not just a subject and a verb. Try and have a little bit of a longer sentence, more of a compound or complex sentence. Off you go. Right, I hope you managed to do that. Let's look what I came up with. So we've got Brandon needs some excitement today. There we go, needs some excitement today. I'm sure many of you are feeling like that today in lockdown. Brandon never reads serious stories. Don't be like Brandon. Brandon's sister ran not thinking Garth had driven near River Road. So yes, silly sentences, but do they link to the next word? Yes, they do. And are they a complete thought? Well done. I would have obviously loved to have heard your ideas and as a class go through as many as we can, but obviously that's one of the negatives of being in lockdown. So jumping into our recap figurative language using a song, take a look at these. I hope you enjoy them.
With your words like knives and swords and weapons that you use against me, you have knocked me off my feet again, got me feeling like a nothing. You, with your voice like nails on a chalkboard, calling me out when I'm wounded. You, picking on the weaker man. I've tried playing it cool, but when I'm looking at you, I can't ever be brave, 'cause you make my heart race. Shot me out of the sky, you're my kryptonite. You keep making me weak, yeah, frozen and can't breathe. Watch me beat it till I can't breathe. Shaking, falling onto my knees. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches. Tripping over myself, aching, begging you to come out. And now that I'm without your kisses, I'll be needing stitches.
Musicians, they can sing, they can dance. After all, miss, this is France.
Love, boom, sound of my heart, the beat goes on and on and on and on. And boom, you make me feel good. Come on to me now. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when the mama sang us to sleep, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that, and I do encourage you to use your own playlists. Go through them, look at the lyrics, listen to the lyrics, and see if there's any figurative language devices that you can find. Right, we're now going to take a look at our lesson for today. So we're looking at homonyms, and if you remember from our prefix lesson, homo is the prefix, and homo means the same. So that's a new prefix that maybe you don't know about. And nym, the second part, means name. So if we're talking about a homonym, we're talking about words that have the same kind of the name, the actual writing of the word. So it's the same pronunciation and the same spelling, and it just has a different meaning. There we go, the same pronunciation and the same name. So if we take a look, for example, at the two on the screen, bear and bear, as a noun, we're talking about a teddy bear or a grizzly bear. That's the noun version. If we're talking about the verb, we're saying, please bear with me as I tell you the story. Is just, just go with me as I'm trying to tell the story. So let's look at some of these on the left-hand side. So change, we're talking about coins in your pocket or in your purse or wallet, and to change something is to undo it or to fix it. If we're talking about beam, the word beam, it can be a wooden beam like in the ceiling, or we can talk about your face beaming. Current, we're talking about in the waves. We've got a current that can sweep you away, or now, as in current events like the coronavirus. There's fold, as in when you turn and when you're playing a game of cards, you could fold. You could just put your cards down and say, that's it, I'm turning them over, I've got nothing more to do. Or when you fold something over, when you actually turn over a page, or you fold in your laundry. Then, which I think many of us are doing at this point in time. Right, if we look at bark, we're talking about a tree and a dog. So the dog barks, the bark of the tree. Base, we're talking about the bottom of an object, or we're talking about things like this that women use as part of their makeup routine. Fire, we're talking about the warmth of a fire, or you get fired from your job, you lose your job. Nail, obviously the nails on your finger, and a nail and a hammer. Rock, as in a stone, or to rock a baby to sleep. Rose, as in a flower, or to get up, he rose from his chair. Tie, as in to tie your shoelace, to bind together, or a man's tie. And then left, as in he left the building, so it's something to do with leaving somewhere, and the left side. Okay, so let's jump right in and see how you do with this one. So I know they're quite easy, but what I want you to do is look at them and tell me the difference between the two different words. So watch the different ones. The kids are going to watch TV tonight, or what is the time I have to set my watch. And then page, play, bit, and pen. Just take a few minutes, think about them, and we'll come back and go through them together. So pause the video at this stage. Right, so let's get to it. So the kids are going to watch TV. That's about seeing something. It's a verb. And obviously if you set your watch, it's a noun, or obviously on the watch on your device. Number 2, which page is the homework on? So we're talking about obviously a page in a book like this. Or please page the doctor if you need help. So on Grey's Anatomy or on those medical series or programs, you see they've got little pages which are a device, a messaging device, and so they can page one another to get them to respond quickly. And then number 3, let's play soccer after school. Obviously it's a verb. You're doing something and the author wrote a new play. That's where people present a story on a stage. Number 4, ouch, the mosquito bit me, so an actual bite. And then I'll have a little bit of sugar means a small amount. And then the rabbits are in a pen outside, so that's their enclosure, their cage or their little gated enclosure. And then please sign this form with a black pen, obviously a writing device. So quite easy, but I hope you're getting an understanding of what homonyms, the same name, so the words look exactly the same, just have a different meaning, because now we go on to homonyms and homophones, sorry. So homo again means the same, and phone, think to do with a telephone, it's to do with something you can hear, so to do with sound. So let's take a look. So it's the same sound, but in this one the spelling is very different. So same pronunciation, 2 and 2, so I'll have 2 pieces of cake, or you can come 2, as in the sun rises in the morning, and I have a son, as in a boy. So let's take a look at these on the left hand side. No and no. I know something, or no, you cannot have that. Roll, as in you can have a role to play in the play, or I'd like to eat a roll, or roll over. Week and week, you can be weak, having no energy, or you can have a long week, Monday to Friday. Through and through, these ones we often get confused. So you can walk through the door, or you can throw something. So he threw the ball. Weather and weather. The first one we're talking about the weather outside. Is it hot or cloudy? And whether you can come to school or not, we'll have to wait and see what our president says. The last one on the left hand side here, 1 and 1. You can have 1 chocolate, or we won the game. On the right hand side, allowed and loud. Allowed. You are allowed to play on your device for an hour, or can you speak or can you read that passage to me aloud so that I can hear it? 8 and 8, so you ate something, and number 8. Bear and bear, so similar to the one that we spoke about earlier with homonyms, but that was spelled the same. Remember this one over here, the second one. Bear, as in a grizzly bear, or bear, also spelled the same, but please bear with me. Those are homonyms because it's exactly the same spelling. But here with homophones, bear and bear, as in the cupboard is bare, there's nothing inside, or a teddy bear. And then I love these ones. We often get them confused. Buy, and buy. So we buy something from the shops. This book is by the author Celeste McGee, and bye as in waving goodbye. Coarse and coarse, as in something like salt can be coarse, so it's not fine, it's quite rough, or we played on the golf course. Flower and flower, you bake with the first one, flower, and there are pretty flowers in the garden. Here and here, so I hear what you're saying, but come here is slightly different. And then hole and hole, there's a hole in my shirt, or I'd like to eat the whole pizza myself. Right, so let's take a look at this. I'd like you to try it on your own. So look at the example. Please try not to waste paper. Obviously, the first one is to use your resources well, so don't waste it. And the waste is obviously your waste. So take a look at 1 to 12. I want you to pause the video, choose the correct homophone out of the choices that you've got, and then we'll go through it together. So pause the video, and then we'll see what you've done when we come back. Right, so let's take a look. Number 1, can I go to the party too? It means also, so it's the middle one. This is my favorite pair of jeans. just so you know, it is the middle one. The first one was to pare an apple, is to remove the skin, or a pear as in to eat a pear. Number 3, I sent a letter to my aunt in Cape Town. The first one. The second one, sent, is a smell, and sent as in a coin, as in money. Number 4, the children got bored during the movie. It is the first one. The second one is like cardboard. Number 5, Mr. and Mrs. Hale like to work in their garden. The first one is over there, and the second one is a contraction, they are. So we're looking at possession as in their garden. Number 6, Alex is going to wear his hoodie today. So that's obviously the first one. And the other wear is like different items, hardware. Go to the hardware and you can find hammers and nails. That's called hardware. Number 7, do you think it's going to rain? It is the middle one. The first one is like a horse, the rain. And obviously king and queen who reign. So the middle one is to do with the weather, about raining. Number 8, I saw a restaurant just off the road, about 1 kilometer back. The first one is to do with riding, as in I rode my bike. But the second one as in the road or the path that the car goes on. Number 9, David's brother is in a band which plays 80s music. Banned, the second one is when you prevent it from doing something. So you're banned from going into the lounge while it's being cleaned. Number 10, Jenna wants her socks because her toes are cold. It's obviously the second one. The first one is when you tow something behind you, or a truck tows a car. Number 11, the teacher walked down the aisle between the rows of desks. So aisle, obviously the pathway. And the second one is to do with a small island. And then Haley has a pain in her shoulder. The first one is a window pane. And obviously the second one is a sore pain in her shoulder. Right. This is the one that I love. Next is your homographs. So same, homo means the same and graph means writing. So they're the same as in when you write them down. So for example, if we look at the noun use and the verb use, it's the way you say it. So you can make use of this, or you can use the book. Use and use. It is the same spelling, but it's pronounced differently. So let's look at the one in the top right. There's the wind, W-I-N-D, but you wind wool around your finger. Wind and wind, spelt exactly the same way, different meaning. Bow in your hair, or you take a bow. You tear a piece of paper, or you have a tear. Agape is actually God's love. And then agape is when you have your mouth wide open in surprise. And then I love this last one, 1 minute, or you have a minute creature, spelled the same way, but pronounced differently. So let's jump in and see how you do with these. So I'd like you to look at them. Example, the wind is blowing hard. I have to wind my clock, the same as the wind in the trees or wind wool around. The one means moving air, and the wind the clock, my apologies, is to turn the stem. So in the olden days, they used to have these clocks that were alarm clocks that you would wind the back up, and then that's how the clock would work without batteries. So take a look at 1 to 5, and then just pause the video and say the sentence out loud and see the way in which you pronounce it, and do you understand the difference in meaning? And we'll come back and go over it. Right, number 1, the singer made a low bow to the audience. Maria placed a red bow on the birthday gift, or in her hair. Number 2, all the students are present today. They're here, and the boss will present the award at 10 o'clock. He'll give. You've also got a present that you can get for your birthday. Number 3, please close the door, so shut it, or the boy sat very close to his uncle. The rope was wound around his ankles, or the soldier received a wound in the battle. I don't know if I will live or die. Last night I saw the band play live in concert. So some lovely examples of homographs. We're going to step it up now. I'd like you to take a look at the following. So think about the word invalid or invalid. Look at the word subject or subject. Look at the word minute or minute, and look at upset or upset. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Choose which of the words below go with that homograph. What is the meaning of it? Right, if we take a look at the first one, the woman has been an invalid for 10 years, which means she's disabled. So it doesn't mean that she doesn't exist or it's null and void. It's not be, it's disabled. Number 2, Rome is the subject of my latest play. It's the topic. If you subject somebody, you expose them to something. Number 3, there were only minute differences in their answers, very small differences. It does not mean minute difference, so it doesn't mean 60 seconds. So do you see the way in which you pronounce the word? That's a homograph. And then the last one, the rambunctious dog upset the apple cart, means he turned it over, or you can be upset. Okay, right, let's move on to our next one. So I want you to take a look at these. If you are in a lower position, or it could also be furry feathers, which word in the box above would that be? So I'm going to just read them to you so you can understand the difference. Content or content, desert or dessert, frequent or frequent, down or down, and produce or produce. Okay, so take a minute and look 1 to 5, which word goes with which. And do you understand the difference in the way you say it? So pause the video, really go through this well, and then obviously I'll come back and we'll go through it together. Right, look at the first one. In a lower position, we're talking about being down underneath. Furry feathers, often we have down duvets. That's where the duvets are stuffed with feathers. Number 2, occurring regularly or to visit a place regularly. So occurring regularly is frequent if it happens often. But to visit a place regularly, you'd say I frequent that pizza place. Number 3, to create or make is to produce. But if we're talking about fresh fruit and vegetables, we talk about produce, fresh produce. A hot, arid region, yes, is a desert. But if you leave, you desert someone. Number 5, happy or satisfied, you are content within yourself. And all that is contained inside something is the content. So the content of this book. Right. There we go. And now we've come to the last. We're almost finished. I love this video. The guy uses a Justin Bieber song just to help you understand the difference between what homographs are. So I hope you enjoy it.
I wonder if I live near live animals. The thought of a bear near me is just too much to bear. I wouldn't want to pet a bear because he's not a pet. I think I'll close the door in case a bear is close. And I don't want to be mean, but I think everybody knows exactly what I mean, 'cause it's not hard to see. And I think that I'll be moving on, 'cause I really want to get this fear and nervousness off my back. And I don't think I'll come back. These words are all spelled exactly the same way, but the meanings, they are not the same. It all can be so confusing. They look like they could be twins, but now I know they have different definitions. So if it's spelled the same but means something else, then maybe you have got a homograph. The letters don't change, but the meaning does. Oh baby, you have got a homograph. So if it's spelled the same but means something else, then maybe you have got a homograph. The letters don't change, but the meaning does. Oh baby, you have got a homograph.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that. I would encourage you to also listen to it again, go over your homonyms, homophones, and homographs to see that you understand the difference. So let's just wrap it up. So remember, homo in all of them means the same. Nym means name, so the same name, like change, as in coins or change something about yourself, redo it or fix it. Homophone also means the same, homo, but phone, think of the sound because you can pick it up and hear somebody. So it's got the sounds the same, like no and no. I know what to do and no, you may not. And then homographs, the same in writing. So minute and minute. Minute takes 60 seconds to finish the exercise, or a minute or small insect. And then obviously when you close this video, you know we come to this section and you can choose the activity to do. I would encourage you to do it just to recap. And then I'd love it if you email me at grade7@worksheetcloud.com. Remember, from our email writing lesson, please email me some questions that you have. Obviously use the correct format. I'd love to hear from you. Is there anything that you want me to teach that I haven't taught up to this stage? I have got a few ideas, but obviously if there's something that you want me to touch sides on or recap, please send me that email. And so we've come to the end of our lesson. Remember guys, you know the drill. Same time, same place. I'll see you next week. Bye everybody.